Founded in 2014, Firefly Aerospace has traveled a long and bumpy road, including a controversial change in ownership, a controversial change in CEOs, and even a bankruptcy filing back in 2017. But they're finally ready to join the growing list of publicly traded space companies. Their backstory alone is a fascinating tale, and for those interested, I'd highly recommend the book When the Heavens Went on Sale by Ashley Vance. But we're not here today to talk about the history of Firefly Space. Today, we're talking about their future as a publicly traded space company. The company may have had a turbulent history, but current CEO Jason Kim is, at least by everything I've heard, a well-liked and respected leader across the industry. The sector is incredibly hot right now, with names like Rocket Lab, AST Space Mobile, Black Sky, and Redwire Space all up hundreds of percentage points over the past year. Space station company Voyager Space also recently hit the markets with a successfully upsized IPO due to so much strong investor demand. Its initial IPO price was set at $31 per share, but the stock eventually opened up on its first day of trading all the way at $69 per share. I'm sure Firefly's management has taken all these factors into consideration when they made the decision that now is the time for their own IPO. The stock is going to be an incredibly interesting one when it does hit the public markets. While there's a growing number of space stocks out there, the number of those companies which have a launch capability under their belt is increasingly small, and it appears to be a highly valued capability. After the bankruptcies of Virgin Orbit and Astra, Rocket Lab is really the only stock that boasts launch services on the public markets. And while I'm sure the ownership of Firefly is eyeing the valuation that the public markets are giving to Rocket Lab right now, those two famous bankruptcies should also offer a cautionary tale about the difficulty of scaling a launch business on the open markets. While Rocket Lab's Electron and Firefly's Alpha are both technically small lift vehicles, the Alpha has an advertised capacity of about 1 ton, which is roughly 3 times the size of Electron. In a lot of cases, what this means practically is that the rockets are not really direct competitors. For heavier payloads like the Lockheed Martin LM-400 satellite, Alpha is the only way to go, whereas for lighter payloads, 300 kilograms and less, Electron is the clear favorite based on price. Several competing 1-ton class rockets which were under development have recently been canceled or pivoted in recent years. This includes the Relativity Terran 1 and the ABL RS-1 rockets. While Astra's Rocket 4.0 could be a competitor for some payloads with a capacity of about 550 kilograms, that rocket is yet to fly and its future is far from certain, as the company had to be taken private and almost went out of business. This leaves the field for 1-ton rockets fairly open for Alpha, if, that is, the company is able to execute. Unfortunately for Firefly, Alpha has had less than a stellar track record over its lifetime, with just 2 out of 6 launches being successful. The rocket has had 1 first-stage engine failure, 1 mission where the low performance led to payloads not reaching their intended orbit and deorbiting too soon, a second-stage engine relight failure, and a stage separation mishap during its short life. However, all that being said, if the team can resolve these issues, the rocket does appear to have enough customers to be successful and not very many competitors right now. The company also announced last year that they would be expanding to a new launch facility in Sweden with the hope of capturing more of the European launch market. Of course, it's not just all about Alpha when it comes to Firefly. They're also working on a Neutron and Falcon 9 competitor in collaboration with Northrop Grumman, which is called Eclipse. Eclipse will start off with a 16-ton to low Earth orbit capacity in expendable mode, although eventually they do plan to include reusability, which will inevitably reduce payload capacity a little bit. This makes it very comparable to the Rocket Lab Neutron, which will support 15 tons of payload to low Earth orbit in expendable mode, or 13 tons with downrange recovery, landing the rocket on a barge. Eclipse will be propelled by 7 of Firefly's Miranda engines, which has already undergone extensive testing. The news of their first hot fire was actually shared all the way back in November of 2023. A maiden launch of Eclipse is currently tentatively scheduled for the second half of 2026, although schedules for first launches of rockets, as we're all aware, are notoriously unreliable. The biggest claim to fame for Firefly, though, at least in my opinion, has got to be their Blue Ghost lunar lander, which successfully set down on the surface of the moon this year. Launched on January of 2025 aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, the Blue Ghost successfully landed on the moon on March 2nd, sharing breathtaking pictures and videos along the way. It was the first commercial lunar lander to achieve a fully successful landing, made all the more impressive after 2 failures each for Intuitive Machines and iSpace in their commercial landing attempts. This exciting lunar landing really did put Firefly on the map for a lot of people who are not space fans and just the regular public. The mission was part of NASA's CLIPS program and carried 10 NASA payloads to the surface to study the moon and paved the way for the first humans to set foot on the moon since Apollo. Firefly has 2 more lunar landings contracted with NASA, as well as a 4th unspecified task order under the CLIPS program. Finally, Firefly is also working on Elytra, a line of orbital transfer vehicles designed to provide in-space services including satellite delivery, relocation, servicing, space domain awareness, communications, and de-orbiting services. Elytra Dawn is designed to provide services in low Earth orbit, while Dusk is capable of going out further to geosynchronous orbit, and Dark is capable of going all the way to lunar orbit and beyond. Elytra Dark is actually scheduled to serve as the transfer vehicle for Firefly's next Blue Ghost lunar lander mission in 2026. So that's your overview of Firefly Aerospace. I hope you liked it. You wouldn't believe how much time it takes to do the editing, putting together those videos with the footage. I've had some feedback lately that I should try and keep my videos a bit shorter. So instead of covering both kind of the overview of Firefly and diving into the financial information that they're giving us as a part of their prospectus, I'm going to dive into the financial side of things and what I think about, their filing, the value of the company and all that in my next Firefly video, but I hope you guys enjoyed this one and it gives you a great idea, high level, what the company is all about. I think this one's really going to be fascinating because they are really the closest company to Rocket Lab that I can think of. They've got the small launch vehicle. They're working on their medium launch vehicle as well. The lunar lander and Elytra vehicle is a little bit different than what you have for Rocket Lab from the space systems point of view, but very fascinating, and it's going to be interesting to compare the valuations of these two as well as their backlogs and revenue growth, all the rest. So really looking forward to having this one on the public markets. Let me know if you think you're interested in investing. What do you think the stock's going to do when it does go public? And if you've taken a look at the prospectus yourself, let me know what you think. We'll be going over all that info shortly in a future video. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed this one. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and I will see you soon in the next video. Bye for now.